Hey everyone, and welcome to our Microsoft SQL from A to Z promo video. This is a place where you can learn a little bit about the course, a little bit about me, the instructor of this course, Brewster Knowlton, and get an idea for what you're going to be covering and learn some other reviews that people have provided to us about some of our past courses, give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. So about me, my name is Brewster Knowlton. I'm the owner and principal consultant at the Knowlton Group. We are a consulting firm specializing in predominantly SQL-based development and working with organizations to develop their analytics strategies and technologies. So I myself am what I would consider an expert SQL developer. I work a lot with organizations, as I mentioned, on their strategic competencies in the areas of analytics. My first course, Microsoft SQL for Beginners on Udemy, has close to 2,000 students at the time of this recording and is considered a bestseller on Udemy with a really high, almost 5-star rating. So I've been very happy and positively overwhelmed with the feedback that we've received. I frequently speak at a lot of analytics-based conferences and have been published predominantly in financial industry publications, as that's the vertical I work with most frequently on the topic of analytics and getting started with data. So what are we going to be talking about in this course? I'm going to teach you how to install SQL Server and begin working with a database, and then just the basics of SQL querying. In fact, this course is an extension of the previous course, Microsoft SQL for Beginners, and the first several sections are actually the same content from that course. So if you're a beginner just really getting started, don't want to get into any of the more advanced stuff, then I'd recommend that you focus on the Microsoft SQL for Beginners course. If you want to get the basics, but also understand a little bit more about the intermediate level skills and some of the more advanced concepts, then this is the course for you. So in that intermediate level sections, we're going to be talking about the various functions like string-based functions, date functions, null handling functions. Going to discuss data type overview and typecasting. We're going to be introducing derived tables, common table expressions, and other types of table expressions. We're going to work with case statements, and I briefly introduce you to the topics of creating a table and then inserting and updating data within those tables. So a lot of material is covered. I think somewhere around 75 lessons. So there's plenty of content here to keep you entertained. Is this course right for me? This is a good question. And throughout this whole endeavor, I assume that you have no SQL or IT background. I really want to start to build a foundation, and I don't assume that you have some previous experience. I have had hundreds, without exaggeration, hundreds of students in our first course, Microsoft SQL for Beginners, say things like, I thought I could never learn SQL, but here I am today. That's a really big compliment. I take a lot of pride in that. So I can show you a lot of these concepts in such a way that even if you don't have a background in IT or computer science, you will understand the concepts. If you work with data in your career, in your job, and you're trying to either advance in a new role or change careers, I would recommend you consider this course. SQL is one of the most sought after skills, and it's really the foundation of analytics. So to survive and thrive in a constantly changing and increasingly data-driven world, SQL is going to be incredibly powerful. Within each lecture, within each section, we're going to have these logical groupings so that you kind of understand the general structure. So we're going to have sections that provide, as I mentioned, the logical grouping, so select statements or where clauses or derived tables. So there's some grouping there, so you can go section by section if you choose. They're primarily video lectures, but I also have supplemental material like PDFs for additional resources, or at the end of each section, I have some questions and lab problems for you to test the skills that we've reviewed in the course. So I find that those lessons at the end, the labs, are particularly useful for students to determine whether or not they can actually apply what they've listened to and seen in the videos. So I encourage you, if you're ever struggling, ask a question or look back to the video lectures. If you're still not sure if this course is right for you, consider these few facts. The average SQL developer salary in the United States is nearly $90,000. So we're talking a very high demand and well compensated skill. As I mentioned previously, it is also one of the most sought after skills by employers because of the rise of data and analytics in many industries. SQL is that tool by which we interact with data at its core, at its very foundation. So this to me is the starting point to data science and some of the more advanced analytics areas. And there are some lectures available for preview, so if you're not quite sure if you're going to like the teaching style that I bring to the table, take a look at some of the lessons. You'll be able to see, determine if the pace and even just the way that I communicate is best for your learning habits, and that'll give you a better idea of whether or not this course is going to fulfill the objectives that you expect to get out of it. And I'm very responsive to questions on Udemy, so if you have any questions, feel free to message me directly, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And so that's all I want to talk about. I want to leave you for the next few seconds, 30 seconds or so, with going through reviews from the Microsoft SQL for Beginners course that we have out on Udemy so that you can see what other students have said. So hopefully you join us in our course, and I'm really excited to start teaching you SQL.